What's up, YouTube? We back with another review. Today we're gonna be reviewing Gachiakuta episode 4. Let's get it! And so as we get into the episode, Rudo and the crew are going full speed towards Cleaner's headquarters. And as they travel through this desert wasteland full of collapsed buildings and salvaged cars, they finally make it there. And as Rudo gazes up on this tall structured building, he's fixated on the giant emblem that lies in front of the building. And so as they walk into the Cleaner's headquarters, a woman's at the front desk looking at adult magazines. This woman is Simiyu. She's the receptionist of the headquarters, and Engine introduces her to Rudo. Engine explains to Rudo that any new recruits that come in, they have her look at them. And what she does is uses her vital instrument, which is her glasses, to scan and see how much power they have. And so as she's scanning Rudo, she's thrown off and shocked by something. Engine notices her weird reaction. He says, "Hey, you find something?" She says, yeah. Clearly, she's startled by something. She starts to explain to them that Rudo is fine. He just needs to work on drawing out the power of his vital instrument on command. She explains that his power is still unstable. Engine then says, "Okay, so is that all?" She says, "No, not really. He has a piece of turd on the back of his neck." Engine starts to troll. He says, "Hey, man, you need to stop playing and poop." And so after that, they leave CMU and they head to the boss's room. On the way, Engine explains to Rudo how many people are on the Cleaner's roster. He says there's hundreds. He tells Rudo that their job makes them go around all over the place, so there's not really a lot of time for them to all be together. So he says, "Hey, you want to meet a few?" Rudo's like, I guess so. And so as they walk inside the room to meet the other cleaners, Engine is surprised because most of the cleaners are there. He's like, "Yeah, let's do this another time." So they leave out, and they head to the boss's room. As they walk up to the boss's room, they finally arrive. Rudo's walking in like, "Man, I'm finna go ask this dude for some information." Engine tells him, "Hey, wait, didn't I tell you that information's not free here?" Engine tells Rudo, he says, "What you need to be doing is saying I'll work to get some information." He also tells Rudo that, "I told you about my vital instrument because I had to, but you better not ask the boss about his. We don't even know about his vital instrument." He continues and says, "But we follow him because he's our leader." And so after this huge prep talk about meeting the boss, they walk inside the room, and to their surprise, he's not even there. Rudo almost crashes out again. He says, "Bro, where is he at? I need the info." CMU says, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell y'all that he was out on business." Engine says, well, he might be gone for a while." Then suddenly the female cleaner Rio pops up. She says, "Hey, Rudo, just come watch me. You can be my trainee." And as she tries to convince him even more, she gets up in his face and she says, "Plus, I want to know more about you." Rudo's like, "What does that mean?" As we continue along, CMU, the receptionist, informs them about a new mission. She lets them know that a small town near a polluted zone wants their help taking out some small trash beasts that arrive. Rudo says, "Polluted zones?" She says, "Engine, you didn't tell this dude what polluted zones were?" He says, "No, I just told him it was a dump area." She said, "You idiot." And she goes on and explains what polluted zones are. She says the grounds are divided up into two sections, safe zones and polluted zones. She says safe zones is where humans live, and polluted zone is where the trash beasts lie. She also informs Rudo that he fell into a certain type of polluted zone, which is called no man's land. She lets him know that these no-man lands are extremely dangerous polluted zones and that most people would die immediately. After giving him the lore on the polluted zone, she hands him a gas mask and says, "Hey, wear this." She says you'll die in 15 minutes if you don't wear one of these masks in a polluted zone. And so as we move along, they arrive at their destination. And the female cleaner tells Rudo, she says, "Hey, this should be easy, but watch me closely." And she blinks an eye at him. He's like, what is with her? Moving along, Rudo's gazing out at the polluted zone. He's taken back how vast and large it is. He's looking down into it and he's saying, how did I survive being in there? As we move along, Rudo's looking at these other men on the cleaner's team and he's wondering, who are they? He asks Rio. He says, who are these men? Rio explains that they're the supporters. They're an extension of the cleaners who don't have powers like the givers. And Rudo hilariously finds out how strong these supporters are, because as one of them asks him for a handshake, he squeezes so tight he brings him down to his knees. Rudo's like, damn it, you strong. Moving along, Rio, the girl cleaner, alerts Rudo. She says, hey, the trash beast has arrived. And out of nowhere, a herd of ram trash beasts arrive. Rudo gets spooked. He says, hey, you told me it wouldn't be that many. Look how many it is out there. Rio says, bro, chill, relax, they're weak. And as these beasts try to ram and break through the barricade, they can't get through. It's too strong. Rudo says, yeah, they are weaker than the ones from last time we fought. But his luck would go out because in an instance, the larger trash beasts come and they ram and they break through the barricade. Rudo starts to panic. He says, hey, what's going on? Rio says, yo, just relax, man. Just chill out. She tells him they're a little bit stronger than the other ones, but they're no problem. We're going to destroy them. She tells Rudo, she says, let's hurry up and beat them so we can go home and have you a welcoming party. Rudo says, how can you be so cool at a moment like this? She says, if you want to be a cleaner, matter of fact, if you want to survive on the ground, you got to be cool. Rudo says, wow, she's right. I got to be cool. And right as he's saying this, the boss trash beast arrives and he destroys the barricade. Rudo tells Rio, he says, just keep my cool, right? She says, nah, this one's too big. This is not good for training. Rudo's so confused. He's like, but you said be cool. She says, don't trip. I like the stronger ones. They get my blood racing. And as this humongous trash beast towers over them roaring, Rio pulls out a vital instrument, a pair of scissors. And as the herd of the smaller trash beasts come towards him, she activates her power and destroys them, ripping and cutting them up with an insane attack, not using her hand but her foot. As Rudo's analyzing, the trash beast sneaks up on him and looks to attack him. But one of the supporters notices it, and with his epic power, he neutralizes it. Rudo's in shock and awe. He realizes how strong these supporters are, even though they don't have powers. Shortly thereafterwards, after the combination of Rio and the supporters destroy the rest of the trash beasts, all the weaker trash beasts are defeated. This leaving only the boss level trash beast left, and he won't smoke. And as Rio's fighting it, the supporters, on the other hand, look to do their part by taking out some of the fewer smaller trash beasts that's left. But unfortunately, one of the supporters mistakenly thought that all of the trash beasts were down where he was at. And after getting tripped up by one, the beast attacks him and he looks to kill him. But surprisingly, Rudo steps in, warding off the beast's attack. Rudo says, I'm going to do my part. I'm tired of being a burden. And as he activates his power, the object he activates takes on an unusual shape that he doesn't know how to control. And after panicking for a while, not knowing how to use this power, the beast lets out a roar. And surprisingly, it's Rio. She destroys the trash beast. And she then thanks Rudo for helping one of the supporters who was in need. And so as we continue, the final clash happens. It's Rio versus the trash beast boss. And surprisingly, she manages to cut it in half, but it doesn't work. He doesn't die. But Rio has a new plan. Because as she was battling him, she noticed an object hidden in his head. And after dicing and cutting him up, she figured out this was his weakness. And so as she's powered up her vital instrument, she lets off the final death blow. And after defeating the beast, she finds out that the hidden object inside of him was a vital instrument. The crew is shocked and surprised because they've never heard of something like this. Soon after this, we get to the final part. A new villain emerges, and he somehow knows about Rudo. Huh? Who is this guy? And so, guys, that pretty much wraps up episode 4. Thanks for watching. I'm out.